What would you say if I told you I could connect to anyone on the planet in 6 connections? That's it. Me to anyone on the planet, 6 connections, or maybe even less. Well, I'm going to show you how. What is happening, people? My name is Robbie, and today I'm going to be talking about 2 completely unrelated topics, or so it would seem. Topic number 1 is how I gained 30,000 followers on TikTok in 1 week, and topic number 2 is how to connect to anyone in 6 connections or less. Now, I know you're probably asking yourself, how can those 2 topics possibly be related to each other and put in the same video? You'll need to keep watching to find out. So I'm going to start with this 6 connections or less thing. So if you want to find out how I gained 30,000 followers in 1 week, you're just going to have to stick through it. So connecting to people in 6 connections or less is actually a theory called 6 degrees of separation, or the 6 handshakes rule, which is a bit outdated now. You're not actually meant to shake anyone's hand anymore. And what that means is through friends, family, workmates, acquaintances, anyone you know, you can then connect through them to someone else, and someone else, so on and so forth, to anyone in the world. So let's just use a hypothetical example to try and illustrate that point. How many people do you think you know? On a first name basis, people you work with, go to university with, school, your neighbour, a couple hundred? Apparently, the average person knows around 600 people, which when I say it out loud actually sounds quite low, because I think I've probably got about 800 people on Facebook, and I know a lot of people have a lot of people on Facebook. But let's stick with 600 for this example. All 600 people that you know, each know 600 people as well, based on that average. So if we take all 600 people that you know, and just presume that they know 600 different people each, that's 360,000 people that you can connect yourself to in 2 connections. Again, still going off the 600 person average, all 360,000 of those people, they know 600 people. That's now 216 million in 3 connections. I'm sure you can see where I'm going with this. Mathematically speaking, you must be connected to everyone on the planet, except maybe the people who live on North Sentinel Island. You know, that island where I think 1 person has ever actually went onto the island and they were swiftly killed by spears. They don't like outsiders, and I think we're probably best off just leaving them to it, to be honest. So besides that small amount of people on that island, so in theory, if you tried your absolute hardest, there's every chance you could get in contact with Barack Obama, for example. Again, this is just a hypothetical example. I will give you some actual examples after this. Let's say your dad works at a bank. Obviously you're connected to your dad. 1 connection. His boss at work does pretty well for himself, and every month or so he goes to Manchester United games. Your dad is of course connected to his manager because he knows him, but when he goes to the Manchester United games, he splashes out and he gets an executive box, and he always bumps into the same people every time he goes. Let's just say one of those people that he bumps into is a member of staff at Manchester United. They come in, check on the people who are in the executive boxes, make sure everything's good with them, but he sees them regularly enough every other month or whenever he goes to the Manchester United games. Connection number 3. So this guy who's pretty high up at Manchester United, who takes care of the executive guests, who else does he work with? Well, getting to that point in your career, you've probably worked there for quite a while. Could be on first name terms with someone like Alex Ferguson, for example. Now I know that seems far-fetched, but how many people do you think at Manchester United knew Alex Ferguson on a first name basis when he worked there? Probably quite a few. Connection number 4, we're on to Alex Ferguson. This is less hypothetical because I know this for a fact. After Alex Ferguson retired from coaching at Manchester United, he actually went on to do some lecturing at Harvard Business School. But Alex Ferguson is no small fish. The guy's a big deal. Chances are he regularly talks to the president of Harvard. Again, not unusual for someone of Alex Ferguson's stature. Now, what type of events do presidents of universities go to? I would make an educated guess and say that they go to various charity functions, fundraisers, and all sorts of other speaking events, whilst also having a lot of different people into the university to do speaking events there. Who else attends these events and maybe speaks at these events? Well, technically he doesn't have a job anymore, so I would presume Barack Obama likes to speak at these events. There's a completely hypothetical scenario where a random person, normal person, could connect to Barack Obama in 6 connections or less. So now I'll give you a real world example of how I could connect to Barack Obama. So we're not just doing hypotheticals the whole time. This is an old photo of me and my big cousin Brian. Obviously that's a fake moustache. I still can't really grow one very well now at 27. Fancy dress party, me and my big cousin. Now here's a photo of that same cousin shaking hands with Donald Trump. And now here is a photo of Donald Trump with Barack Obama. 3 connections. Now using these examples, could you get Barack Obama on a quick Zoom call for a chat? Unlikely. But in theory, if you had an important enough reason or message that you wanted to get to Barack Obama, you could potentially get to him. I mean, getting in contact with Barack Obama, the reason or message would have to be pretty significant and quite important. But it is possible, and that's the point. This is why people say things like your network is your net worth.
Get with the right network, it will change your net worth.
You could be the best at what you do for work. You could be the best accountant in the game. You could be an incredible football player, amazing joiner, but if no one knows who you are, you're not going to get the opportunities that you deserve for your hard work and your talent. If you're an incredible accountant, but you don't network, you don't speak to other people, you just do local businesses, bookkeeping for example, and do their tax returns, you're not going to get high profile clients. You're not going to build a bigger business because no one knows who you are or how good you are at accounting other than your clients, who in this instance may all just work local to you. So try it yourself. It can be a fun game if you're looking to pass some time. Pick the most inaccessible person you can think of. The Queen, George Bush, Vladimir Putin, whoever you like. There will be a way you can connect to them. It might take a while trying to make those connections, but you can get there, it is possible. So this has always just been a theory up until 2006, when Microsoft decided to conduct some experiments and actually confirm it. They studied 30 billion electronic messages between 180 million people via Microsoft Messenger, which accounted for around half of the global traffic of instant messaging. Do you remember that? MSN Messenger, Windows Live Messenger, changed names a few times, but used to play sounds like this. I remember coming home from school after seeing all my friends all day, getting my dinner, and then going straight back on the computer and talking to them online all night. That's completely irrelevant, I don't know why I even mentioned it. So Microsoft actually found that there were 6.6 connections between anyone using the platform, which means you're technically 7 connections away from anyone. But this experiment was conducted in 2006, before Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, before any of these platforms were where they are today. Every day people are becoming more and more connected, as I'm sure we're all aware. Our social circles are expanding exponentially. Maybe not in person, but definitely online. Especially given the rise in things like Zoom calls and direct messaging online because of the whole shit that's been going on for the past 2 years. But how does this all translate into gaining 30,000 followers in 1 week? Well, I took the 6 degrees of separation and I turned it into a game. Now, before anyone jumps on me, I don't think I invented this. This theory was around long before I was born and even longer before TikTok existed. I just started making TikToks about it. So on the 13th of February, I posted a TikTok literally explaining what the 6 degrees of separation was. Then I used Barack Obama as an example. I didn't really think much of it. Maybe got 2,000 views, 3,000 views, something relatively low for TikTok. Then an old workmate commented, challenging me to connect to Khabib Nurmagomedov, the UFC fighter. So I did. The twist here being, you can't prove you know someone on TikTok. People will claim that you're lying, you don't actually know that person, prove it. So you have to have some sort of photo evidence of the connection. So instead of me saying, I know this person who knows that person, blah blah blah, I had to find some photos to make those connections. So here's the original TikTok of me connecting to Khabib Nurmagomedov. Me to Khabib Nurmagomedov in 6 connections or less. Here's a terrible sunburnt photo of me and Joseph Sikora, who plays Tommy in Power. Joseph Sikora and 50 Cent. Why am I pointing there? 50 Cent, Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor, Khabib Nurmagomedov. I'm telling you, 6 connections or less for anyone on the planet. And this is where it started to gain a bit of traction, which was completely unexpected. And shout out to Sohail for suggesting I connect to Khabib in the first place. If you're watching this, Sohail, I appreciate it. So the Khabib video got around 400,000 views, resulting in around 500 comments, and almost all of them were challenging me to connect to someone else. Bear in mind the previous video got around 2,000 views and the next one got 400,000. So I chose a comment and I made the connections. This trend has went on for the past 3 weeks non-stop. No matter what I post anywhere, people will comment saying, connect to Brad Pitt, connect to Messi, Ronaldo, whoever. So every video in the first 2 weeks was getting at least 100,000 views. Some were getting as many as 700,000, 800, maybe even 900,000 views. And as you can see from this chart on my TikTok analytics, I was averaging around 5,000 views per day. Then I started making the connection videos, and my views shot up to 1.9 million in the first day, then 1.3 million, 2.1 million, 1.8 million, 1.7 million, 1.3 million, and then it dropped back down to below 1 million per day. Now if we look at this graph, you can see that my followers went from 19.3 thousand on the day that I started posting these to 25.3 thousand the next day. That's like a 30% gain in followers in one day. It then jumped to 28.6 the next day, then 34.1, and it kept going until I'm now at 54,000. And ignore that drop at the end of that graph. It's either glitched or I've lost 54,000 followers today. So what did I learn from looking at these graphs and how people reacted to this trend that I think I might have created by accident? If something works, hammer it. Absolutely hammer it while it's popular. And also use the comments in TikTok for more content. Another example would be when I first started on TikTok and I posted a video of me driving in my car. Someone commented asking, "What car do you drive?" Rather than just writing a reply back saying I drive an Audi S3, I took a video of my Audi S3 and replied to that comment saying, "I drive an Audi S3, it's 2015, blah blah blah." More people started to comment. How much does it cost in fuel? Have you taken finance out on that? What's the fastest you've driven it? 70 miles an hour, obviously, on the motorway. It's a constant snowball. Each new video would prompt more comments, which would prompt more videos. You also start to notice the repeat commenters, which is cool because you can take a mental note that that person is regularly commenting on my TikToks. Maybe I should reply to that person because they seem to be supporting me. So with the 6 connections or less, I've been quite busy for the past couple of weeks and I started to let it slip a bit and my views have suffered. But when the trend initially started to pop off and it started to gain some traction, I must have made about 20 videos in a day, which then had the snowball effect of getting all these comments. Each video I posted brought more comments brought more connection videos for me to make, which in turn brought even more views. If I was to tally up the comments from each video, it's well into the thousands. Many thousands of comments, so people are starting to get offended that I haven't done their suggestion. There is literally only so many videos I can make in a day. But the point is, if you can get in early enough to a trend, or come up with your own that gets a bit of traction, just ride that wave as long as you can. This also now means that if this 6 connections or less trend decides to completely die off, the next trend that comes along that I want to get involved in or think I could participate in, I have 50,000 followers to start that ball rolling, which means it's even easier to gain more traction on the next trend. This is how people like Charli D'Amelio have so many followers on social media. As soon as a trend came up, they would jump on it early. Each trend that they would jump on would build the follower base a little bit. Now all I need to do is try and transfer as many of the 50,000 people on TikTok over to YouTube as I can. In the same time, I did double my YouTube subscribers and I'm now pushing for 1,000 subscribers by the end of the month, which is pretty cool. So I just have to say thank you to the 500 or so of you that have came along from TikTok. Just one final point to make in this video. I don't think I'm some sort of social media guru because I've gained 50,000 followers on the easiest platform to ever gain followers on. I just thought some people may be interested in how I got so many followers over the past month. Hopefully a few people watching this might take a bit of inspiration and jump on the next trend and get loads of followers. More than me, hopefully. I've had fun doing it and I'm still shooting for 100,000 followers on TikTok by the end of the year, so I better find a new trend pretty sharpish. But thanks as always for watching, folks. Remember to like the video if you've enjoyed this, or if you feel like it's been helpful in any way, and I'll see you next week. Take it easy.